back, everyone, to the European Minor League. I'm over here. I'm on this side of the screen now, as it stands. I'm
Big
here
move.
with Nick.
How's it feel?
Pretty hair. How are you feeling? Yeah, no, I mean, a lot of perspective changes from over here.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm looking at the right side of the screen a little bit more.
What have you learned? What can you share? What knowledge? What news from the front, brother?
I'm a little taller on this side than when I stand over there. I don't know what happens when I transition. It might just be the foam I'm standing on or whatever to make this a little bit better because you're gargantuanly tall compared to the rest of us. But either way, everything's good. And Bugsy's team looks pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, this is something we definitely talked about as we kind of move through and get ready for this next set. I believe we do have a bracket ready for you guys. But to talk about this team, all business, it's going to be called, I think, Bugsy's team for a while, right? He's one of the heavyweight names in our scene. And this is something we wanted to look at a lot and kind of put under the microscope going into the minor league with all of the changes surrounding this league this year. Specifically how, he couldn't make the Premier League, right? He couldn't make that big move over to Alpharetta to play live in the studio week in and week out. So these incredibly talented players, some of them have to play in the minor league because that's just what's going to work for them in their current schedule and their current life. He's going to bring so much knowledge, you know what I mean? He's really going to elevate a lot of these teams. He's going to be a good mentor. And I think because of that, and because of those couple of guys, obviously Bugsy's one of the bigger names here in Europe for this particular situation. He's going to bring so much value to a team, and I think do a lot to elevate this league in general.
Well, we've got the maps ready for them to be able to showcase exactly what they are. I said at the end of the last set, and I'll say it again, even though I think it's easy to refer to it as Bugsy's team, it is absolutely 5 members that are just fully strengthened to the max, I guess, with the way things have been going. That's Timber Mill and Fish Market. So, hey, we do actually have Warder's Gate available for the first time ever.
Fingers crossed here that we actually get to see it. It's always a lot of fun to watch that first new map, and it's just a process of what team will become comfortable on it first. Normally in the past, we've prescribed this to teams that are newer or something to give them an edge, so to speak, right? No one's going to be used to it, right? This is an even playing field, so if you guys put some time in, do some homework on it, as a lower seeded team, it could be a higher value pick for them. That's not a Stone Keep ban, by the way. That is a Bright Marsh ban. Game 1 will in fact still be on Stone Keep. We saw this played once in the prior set, and it just felt to me, I don't know if you share the same opinion, that once all business sort of got going, that was a really close game 1, but that's the way Jaguar Falls can tend to go, and that's the way any sort of game is going to go if both teams feel confident on it. But they really felt like they were bringing out new weapons every single time. I mean, specifically, I've said this multiple times, Bugsy's the most versatile player ever to play this game. He pulls out 3 very different style champions every single game, and when you're getting hit from different angles like that, it can be difficult, man, to survive.
And the fact that, especially for Stone Keep even, right? So he's gone from this Grok play to a Pit play in the last set, and then he changed up how he was playing in each round, and I feel like that's what all business has to bring, and PACCBET have to match that. Like, they can't take that away. There's no way to really stop all business from being able to set that up. You just have to be able to slow them down or match them in every single step they take. William Birkin more than likely going back on this barrack, and there's literally, I cannot think of a reason to take him off.
And a lot of those, guys from Chroma Space are no slouches, right?
Yeah.
Those guys win out in the CIS, PGS region from times past. They've been to LAN before, and they've done fairly well for themselves. A lot of those names, and some of them even playing in the PPL, right? So those, it's no roster to kind of scoff at here. That was a real competition that all business was able to just take down. So far, though, they got themselves a Ruckus, Barrack, Leon, and Furia. Grover's gone pretty highly today, and that's where, we've only seen the 1 week of competitive minor league play here. No Premier League play coming through just yet. That starts up in a couple weeks, so we're still sort of watching these drafts and seeing where everyone's ending up from week to week.
And I'll admit, I'm kind of surprised because what we saw all business do actually in the last set was grab the Ruckus and the Grover, because Grover is going to just dominate a Ruckus in the right scenarios and the right positioning. But I feel like because of the layout of Stone Keep, they're a little bit less worried about like a deep roots being able to bounce off of him, depending on where he gets moved around. They've also flexed around, and they're pulling out the Drogas. We haven't gotten to see him today.
We'll have to see if Bugsy ends up playing that. The tough thing about it is I've seen Bugsy consistently play all 4 characters outside of the support that all business have drafted, so you just never really know where he's going to go. And that's, part of the strengths, right? You don't know what the hell anyone's trying to really get after when you've got a jack of all trades that can play basically anything. He went from the Grok to the Pip to the Vivian, It's time for some Stone Keep action here for game number 1 of the Week 2 European Minor League Finals here. Formidable, Chain Reaction, Impulse, Mother's Grace, Rampant Blooming. Will be Closar playing Eminence, Solar Blessing, Rocket Barrage, Combustible, and Tinker and Barrack.
You're going to see names again that are familiar. Madara, Erase, Please Do. A couple of those making it to the last LAN we had, along with Ovim and their big team. But it seems as though what once was B5 is now separated to so many different teams. And PACCBET in a good position, but again, making some mistakes we saw against All Business, but a good first clean kill, clean 2 kills. And they are not caring. They are getting full aggressive.
So I was about to comment on the fact that we did see Combustible come out for Bugsy. And until I saw him fly up, and it looks like he's playing Worm Jets, because I was going to say, Simsalone week number 1 looked incredible on this Worm Jets Drogoz. It's just a completely new look for the character. He can attack from so many different angles you're not expecting to be ambushed from. Great salvo there. Needs one more rocket onto the Grover, and he'll find it.
Being able to find a lot, but that kill needs to be multiplied. They need to find a little bit more because it's 99-3 as of right now, and Bugsy loses his life in the process. That is going to be PACCBET taking point number 1. This is very similar to how All Business started the last set, though. Kind of tripping up against their opponents, but then able to find a really good defense, maybe potentially taking it over. Although right now, I just haven't seen, I want to say, the same level of play. It seems like they're slipping up a little bit more. They're making a couple more mistakes.
Yeah, they really only got one chance at that. And that's kind of the way that Stone Keep can go. And I would also say Serpent Beach can go, right? There's a very almost vanilla set in stone way that these maps get started. It's a 4 or 5 man grouping up on the high ground, and they're going to clash in that gatehouse to try and get control and see who gets control of the balcony and maybe takes control of the map from that point. But at the end of the day, PACCBET take that in spades. All Business get almost completely wiped, and they don't really have a chance to recover or get another shot. So it's an easy fix in the sense that clearly we either need to change something drastically about our current strategy or switch it up altogether. We'll have to see which one that All Business go for in the next round.
Not having Closar on the Bomb King, but Madara now on the Bomb King makes a huge difference. A lot of damage being found right there. And of course, this Grover, the Whirlwind, everything, the resets that are keeping the team alive have been finding a lot of work. With Closar, as well as Bugsy, being able to kind of find that double team damage. I think that's what we were missing. Because Closar died so early, because that clash went so poorly for them, there were a lot of low health bars that Bugsy just could not finish off because he was the one putting them there.
Yeah, exactly. He never really had a chance to get in there. Landed a good fire spit, like a triple fire spit, but you could see that the momentum was already so heavily in favor of PACCBET. All 3 of those players took that fire spit on the chin, ranging from 500 to 1,000 damage, and they didn't even flinch. They just kept moving forward because that fight was already going so heavily their way. Whether or not it seems like it's a very clear, concise call that Bugsy was going to go that way, and the fact that that fight was really over before he got in position is less of an issue of his approach to the fight and maybe a core issue of how this is going to be approached in that 3 to 4 to 5 man grouping from All Business in the next round.
Please Do is one of those players, just watching him kind of bounce around right now on this Fernando, who has been able to do so much. They have the seismic crash come through. He immediately jumps down to try and come facilitate whatever damage he can. But he is a player that when he showed up at LAN was kind of nobody. Made a huge name for himself there, and right now you're starting to see why. He is in a stellar front line, especially with someone like Erase backing him. The damage combos are just incredible right now for PACCBET. Yeah. And this is going to be the first time today we see All Business down by 2.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Certainly a strong draft coming out from PACCBET. Now we get the inside scoop, and you can see now this fire spit comes through. Everyone gets hit by it, but it doesn't matter. Like we mentioned, that first kill, the first blood on a Ruckus had already come through, and the momentum just kept on rolling. This is partly due to Madara as an incredible player, playing a very strong champion for that situation to boot. So all the boxes are checked there. They have 2 incredibly strong front lines. They have a Grover who is the perfect support for that type of engagement as well. There's really no chinks in the armor, so to speak, for PACCBET. They hard committed to that high ground fight, and they won it very, very convincingly.
And Uncontrolled is not a card you typically see in Bomb Kings. I feel like that's, again, it's one of those we're going to snowball
I don't think I've ever seen that card.
And I did not know what it did. I would never have looked at it because there's so many good Bomb King cards, but active cooldowns by 40%, that Grumpy Bomb coming up a little bit more often, Poppy Bomb being able to get a nice little bit of a reset, like your disengage and your re-engage both active for you. All Business have to fight into a stun.
There is a card, it's called Backdraft, I believe, that's a pretty consistent like Poppy Bomb cooldown. All you need to do is detonate your bombs and you get some CDR for it. The King Bomb rolls out of the high ground here, but what target is he looking for? He'll find the barrack under the Dome Shield, but Gormizer doesn't accomplish much.
Hexafire coming through, going to be able to melt the shield to please do, but he runs off just in time, comes in maybe a little bit too early because he's getting melted, and this is the all business that we were used to seeing. Arrays is going to be able to get some good shots off in the meantime, but there's only so much one lone Cassie can do. And admittedly, only so much one lone Inara can do against a barrack with a Furia behind him.
It's a good re-engage here. All the cooldowns pop for Inara, though. She won't have anything to defend herself with for the next couple of seconds. Has her ultimate, though, and that's going to certainly buy some time. Barrack getting stunned out here, but the full life resets from the Furia Beam are certainly helping to keep this little dwarf alive.
Being able to get the bowling ball resets, keep that shield up as much as possible. William Birkin was almost undying during the last set. And as of right now, when you have plays like Ineffable Bugsy being able to come in, make that difference when it matters, they can keep him alive. 1, 3, and 4 as of right now, but still causing so much trouble for PACCBET.
Yeah, it all starts with just that initial fight going better for sure. But you have to definitely thank your support when you can. And how many times have we seen that Furia Beam miss?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So support is a thankless job. Everybody kind of knows that. You only get noticed, you only get attention if you're not doing it. And you're going to be getting negative attention for that. But in this sense, Sadzik hasn't missed a single beam the entire time, and that's what gives Barrack the ability to contest and go toe-to-toe with Inara on the objective like he was able to do. So shout-outs to the support there for all business, keeping the glue and keeping the point fight up and running.
And it's very similar to what we've seen earlier. Just focus down Sadzik, and you can cause a little bit of trouble, but the problem is he's so tightly knitted. I mean, he's in the pocket, right? He's completely covered. No one's going to be able to come get him with the way he is guarded. You have to go through people like Ineffable Closar to get to
4. Okay.
And when you finally get those kills, you think maybe, just maybe, we can win a fight, but all you're doing is defending for a little bit. That payload is precariously close for 1:20.
Yeah, it certainly is. PACCBET on the back foot here as well. All business poised to strike, and they've got 4, nearly 5 ultimates to do it as well, Gormizer. Ultimates honestly weren't the biggest conversation about that point fight. I felt like it just dragged on for very, very long. It was not this very, spectacular crescendo of everyone's E's colliding at the same time. In the sense that, King Bomb sort of ran into a dome shield, and there was also a seismic crash that didn't get too much, but that's sort of it, and that's really much all that I can recall about it. But now you're looking at all business. They have the full suite of ultimates up and ready to rock and roll here. The question is, though, with 40 seconds left on the clock, are they going to pop these? Is this the catalyst that they need to get them started? It doesn't appear to be, so as Bugsy just picks one up purely for free. Make it 2.
Almost 3, except Closar is going to be able to clean that one up a little bit. And that's, Please Do was quite literally under fire the entire time he was doing that. He was kind of playing this peekaboo with Ineffable, but there's only one way that I can go at the end of the day. You get the regroup from all business. Everyone seems ready, but high ground respawns coming in for PACCBET. The payload is going to be defended. It's just how long can they hold on to it. Once again, a beautiful on-point healing beam, and losing your Grover, that is going to be a bad look for PACCBET.
I mean, this is rough here. This is, coming through with just 2 ultimates spent. Now the Dome Shield and the Hexafire, they're feeling good about their chances. All business inching this payload closer and closer. Quick pause is going to come through here from Znas, but I don't see a way, no matter what, nearly, that PACCBET is going to be able to stabilize this one here. And it's such a risk at this point. With the payload as close as it is, even if they start to spend ultimates here, they might get a nice emergency break pull here. Yeah. They might get this payload stopped for a moment, but one small lapse in judgment, meaning somebody steps off the payload, somebody dies before another tank can rotate in to contest. These are all things that could result in this payload going through when it's this close. So I don't know if you want to really take that bet.
And there's this interesting push and pull where ults are available for all business in this area, where it's like, if you really want to push this in, you can hard commit and it will go in. You can maybe even only use one, like a dome shield,
they've already popped
to
2.
give yourself that kind of ground. But you're also having to look at the fact that even though this point fight that we just saw wasn't ultimate oriented, the next one you're going in potentially 2-2, it's going to matter a lot more who grabs that. That could be the 2-0 conversion. This kind of push, which is a very lackluster push overall, just kind of goes in. But you still have 3 of your 4 ults. You don't have your Dome Shield anymore. You don't have your Hexafire. But you have, I want to say, enough, especially with an Inflame, that can win you the fight, can win you a point if you're all business. But PACCBET are coming in guns loaded.
I mean, right now, some of the biggest struggles I'm seeing is 41K on the Bomb King, and that's not the end-all be-all stat that do good or do bad, damage number big, bad damage number small. That's not what I'm trying to get at here, but there is a point where, you know, Bugsy is, if he's doubling you, if you have an Inara that's above you, granted, that's a lot of just, like, tanks just punch each other in the face a lot, and then that damage number stacks up. Bomb King needs to find a way to be more effective. Madara was an incredible spearhead for this early fight in the first round. Doesn't look like they're going to run that strategy back, despite it kind of working pretty well for them. They're going hard commit to the right side this time.
Doing whatever he can around the corner. Please Do is now isolated. That is expected to be a
they
death,
gave
but
up.
that's going to be the Immortal, and that's what they need. The point, the zone, it's at least a little good Whirlwind going to heal him back up. And so far, the only person to die is Ineffable.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they popped a lot of defensive ultimates for that. They popped their Seismic Crash as well. So it's good that they were able to really stay alive there, but it was just, it's confusing. It felt like everyone just backed off and left Fernando out high and dry there. Bugsy gets the entry frag with the Dragon Punch. King Bomb comes through, but it's Madara that goes down first after the fact. Incredible bounce back play there from Ineffable.
You know, I'm going to say it again, because I feel like we haven't said it enough. Bugsy's just really, really good. And the fact that he has a team behind him that makes him not seem as great as he is, like they're all performing so well, right, is remarkable for this. With the way things are going, PACCBET have been able to keep up step by step. But there's still just those small moments where something goes perfectly the way All Business wanted to. And right now, it's just been giving them so much control. But unfortunately, Please Do, as well as Inara, going to be back 96-66 on the point. But that's going to be another kill picked up, this time for the support.
And this is, you know, another Grover all coming up here. Overtime is started in favor of PACCBET. Erase finds 2, but I just don't know if it's going to be enough. Madara manages to shut down the Hexafire mid-spin up. Overtime is still going through, and this Barrack just can't survive for much longer. He doesn't have his ultimate. It's close. He's at 89% climbing now. They've allowed him to live for a few seconds longer, but again, it won't be enough, and PACCBET will just barely eke this one out. Now, this narrative falls apart a little bit, but what I was going to talk about is how hard that PACCBET committed to that initial fight there on the right-hand side and didn't feel like they got that much. In a fight like that, at the highest level of play, we're talking like the World Championship, those top teams, if you commit that hard, you know, you pop 3 ultimates and you don't get a lot, they got like 1 kill at the end of the day and some point capture, that's like not enough, you know what I mean? You spent so many resources for just 1 kill and a little bit on the capture point there. That's the types of fights that will eventually fall apart, and it almost did even here in the minor league, right? All Business was almost able to win that war of attrition, but PACCBET held it together for just long enough. You could see Fernando comes back in, he's getting fragged out. A big part of what held it together is how quickly that Grover was able to recharge Whirlwind and really give them 1 more extra life in the fight. I like that about Grover, but that's a lot of supports today, man. You can really get these ult charged quickly, especially when you're pumping out as much healing as Grover.
And a lot of work that is going to get cut out. Inflame as well as Whirlwind both being available. The supports doing whatever they can. But this is a big defense for All Business. They have to hold PACCBET off. And again, this is going a little bit different than I kind of anticipated, especially after the way they played last set. They know what they're doing, but Madara so far has proven completely deadly on this Bomb King. And I think there's nothing less to say. King Bomb is probably one of the best ults that you can have in your arsenal for an in push. They might be going for it soon. They're trying to get rid of Bugsy first, though.
This is such a scary 1-2 punch. Bomb King Fernando is nuts. And now that everyone has to dogpile onto the objective, right into the King Bomb there. I mean, you cannot draw it up better than that. PACCBET burst it through with a couple of great placed ultimates there. Get the momentum back in their hands, and they don't let it go. Conversions all around, and it's going to be a 4-2, of course, in just 3 quick rounds.
There are kind of, I want to say, like 2 counters to a Bomb King when he's ulting at you. There is run away and get as far away as you can, which you can't do when you're trying to defend like that. And there's kill him before he can blow up, which you can't do because he's immortaled right now. That is like, again, the combos that are coming through from both of these teams, but specifically there at the end, keeping players alive in those moments has been causing so much trouble for everyone else. And we get to see actually how that looks on the post-game stats, what kind of trouble it was. And I expect we're going to see a lot of really good 287 seconds there on the point for the Inara. But I think I might have to lean towards the 93,000, almost 94,000, like silent damage Arrays did.
Yeah, really great stuff there from a lot of different perspectives, depending on how you look at it. What I think started to happen there in the late game is maybe Cauterize coming online prevents William Birkin from being quite as tanky as a result of the Furia beams. Of course, the healing numbers look pretty similar at the end of the day. It's so much AoE healing for this Grover. He's able to spread the love, so to speak. But you're right, a strong front line there, 287 on the objective. Cassie silently doing her thing, and I think Madara started to pick up a little bit more momentum towards the end of that game as well.
And it was in the perfect area. I think William Birkin's barrack was stronger when you're finding a 4-0, right? I feel like it snowballs really well, and it can kind of hold up. In the 3-3 we saw at the very beginning of the day, that is probably like one of the worst scenarios for him, or right here where you see it go as long as it can. Like you said, once the Cauterizes are online, he looks a lot worse when you start getting, okay, well now you have this Immortal, this Fernando being able to go through. So I'm curious to see if we're going to have All Business go back to the barrack as we go into map number 2 for the set. A lot that would, I want to say, even went right for them. Their damage numbers were stellar. Everything they played was amazing. It just didn't work out the way they planned it.
Jaguar Falls is going to be the next selection up on the docket. This went All Business's way in the set prior, but this is no longer the set prior. I imagine that this is their map pick, because normally, you know, you have the first 2 maps are in a competitive set going to be a split decision. Each team is going to pick the map that they were able to select. First pick usually goes to the higher seed, which PACCBET coming from the top side of the bracket leads me to believe they were the higher seed in this set. So All Business, I expect them fully to bounce back here. Big changes already, though, in the draft. Ruckus picked early in the first game, banned away already. Bomb King, a pretty big factor later on, and in that first fight, the middle was a bit of a dry spell, in my opinion, for Madara, but he started to pick up towards the end of the game, and obviously he had a very, very great first blood fight. He's going to be banned out. An incredible map for the King. Despite a performance on Stone Keep, you have to respect what the King can do on Jaguar Falls, where everything is almost his ideal range.
Immediately scooping up Inara and Khan, which has been just the combo lately. That's been the 2 that kind of eke through. Typically you have Torvald Makoa still getting banned. Ruckus kind of taking his role in there. That's going to be either Khan or Inara, but on this map, a good Khan'll, a really good Inara can change the pace of a point fight. PACCBET being able to pick that up. Already 1 comfort zone, 1 control being able to come through from Khan. Makes it a little bit harder for Ash to look as strong.
It's a great thing to get together as well, because a great way to get rid of a great Inara is a great Khan off the map. It's going to be, you know, working almost the same for this Ash, right? It's very difficult to displace an Ash far enough and for long enough to get the kill outside of her ultimate assert dominance, but Khan is one of the few characters that can do it. It doesn't even have to be off the side of the map. Most Ashes pop their ultimates when they're pretty low HP. So you can just grab her out, and as long as you hold her up for a few seconds, that's an easy kill for the rest of your squad here. They pick up the Tyra too. Bit of a flavor pick here, but I like it. You know, it's something that I definitely expect to see more going into the season.
I actually think this works really, really well based on the way and the style we've seen All Business play. Like against a Barrack, against an Ash, they're going to be floating around the point anyway. You can kind of control using like the small quarters, the stairways, where that firebomb can go. Even if you're not going Burn Monster, that's at least good damage and good zone control to keep someone like William Birkin from controlling the point the entire fight.
Certainly, and we'll have to see which way this Tyra goes. Depending on what style you pick with your talent, there's
3 solid
a lot of ways to go for sure. Hunting Party, while I still think is good, is at its core not fully explored yet by any of these teams, really. I really like the Mercy Kill recently reworked grenade launcher style, just because it's easy. The loadout cards that are accompanying it, and that's a big part of it too. Almost any talent can be made or break by the loadout cards that you can use to further supplement that style. And the ones that supplement Mercy Kill, they're so easy. You know what I mean? Heal when you use this. Get damage reduction when you use this. Tyra can become one of the tankiest damage characters in the game, if not the flat-out tankiest damage character in the game, through In the Fray, through a large base HP pool, and the ability to pick up more HP through Survivalist.
And the wording of In the Fray, activating Nade Launcher.
Yeah.
You don't even have to hit it. Just shoot with the Nade Launcher, the 3 shots you now have, and you're going to get 20% damage reduction. And that seems to be the way it's going.
3 seconds, too.
It absolutely helps when you are hitting those. That burst is just so solid, and as it is, that's been 3 or 2 clean kills immediately picked up by PACCBET. And it doesn't look like they're stopping. They're not timid at all. In
and
the face of
all we've
business.
really talked about is tankiness, right? But
yeah.
when you have all of this stuff combined with the fact that Tyra is, when all of her damage is spun up, when she has the mark on there, she's hitting her shots and the grenade launchers, she is also one of the highest DPS damage characters in the game. We are talking well over 1,000 DPS. So that's just a math equation that you cannot win.
And this is exactly the moment. 120 per shot, 26 shots in the clip, plus the burst coming down. It's all just on Showcase right here. And there's not a lot of places to stand, although you have Please Do, Devozy getting taken down. And again, at 93%, this is where All Business were able to control their first set, their first game on Jack Falls today. Even though 93% is a daunting number, you have to kill them at the right moment. You have to get a good zone, and so far it looks like they're going to be able to get it, although there is going to be a touch from PACCBET to get overtime.
Here comes the Crossfire. Early Whirlwind to come out as well. A lot of early ultimates being charged here. Even more comes through now, Gormaz. So the Enlightenment is fully charged up and ready to go. Seismic Crash is 4% off the mark here. This first point fight is going to be won or lost by the use of ultimates.
And towards the tail end as well, shield goes up, but so does
Perfect.
Madara. Bugsy finding the
it.
shots. Closar being able to get that kill on Madara, 99 to 99.
Woo.
And that's going to tick over to 100 as the kills start picking through. Leon found her ult and found where she needed to fit in the grand scheme of things. Bugsy also showcasing exactly why Zen can be good on this map. The two working together the way they need to.
I mean, that's just a really fun point fight to watch, right? You have basically the tables get turned. Both teams are in control of the point at separate times, but it goes on long enough for a couple of ultimates to come online. The first two ultimates that come online are the first two ultimates that are used, but then over the course of that little skirmish, even more ultimates start to come up, and you get to really see the full strength of these team comps. A lot of times, I'll end up saying, you know, this point fight is going to look very different in round 2 because ultimate X, Y, Z, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, yada, yada, yada. But that was cool because we got to see the full strength of those team fights basically in the first round. And there's really no more excuses for either of these teams. They've seen everything. All the plans have really been laid out, and they know how these are going to kind of feel to play against.
And it also showcased, I want to say, like the more bursty ultimates versus the not. Like Crossfire comes out. If Crossfire is able to find maybe 1-2 kills before they charge their ults, that fight goes completely differently. It's just not having that immediate burst, not having that immediate, I guess, killability on your kit is not going to open it up a lot. All Business, though, now having 4 out of 5 already charged back.
I'll be honest, I don't think Crossfire is going to be a very great ultimate against this particular team composition from All Business. Throw a Dome Shield down, you throw an Assert Dominance down, those two ultimates hard stop. Zin's base Billow, he's just going to poof into thin air when you hit the gas pedal here. Grover, until you get cauterized, has the ability to just heal through it with the Whirlwind HPS. So Madara is definitely going to struggle early on unless he finds, you know, that perfect Crossfire, which is almost true of any Crossfire, any Hexafire, any like sit there and channel it type of ultimate. It can be difficult because you're right, it's not very bursty.
And I'll tell you, one of the best combos I would say with it, if you want to and if you have it, you put a Furia behind a Tyra. Crossfire with an Inflame is where it will be. But unfortunately,
that could be spicy.
They don't have the boost. They don't have any of that kind of to accompany it. The most they can do is maybe Swift Spirits on top of it so you can run at them a little faster. But when you have someone like Bugsy just opposing you the entire time, his damage kind of smacking you all in your face, there's not much you can do. As All Business push it all into it.
That one's just going to go through. Couple of moments there where I thought Bugsy could have used the ultimate, but he's definitely a guy known for trigger discipline on these ultimates and wanting to get value. You know, we'll see him cancel Dragon Punches if he doesn't think that they really need it. He's going to go ahead and pocket that 30% charge. 8-1 start for Bugsy. He gets blown up at the start, but that's it. No more. 8-2 on the through the rest of that round there. He's on the 10 streak now, 11 streak for the Barrack, 13 streak for Sadzik. Things looking good for All Business. 3 ultimates as well. That's a big part of it too. You know, you don't want to overextend yourself. If other people are popping ultimates and you've already got momentum, you know, why add salt into the wounds? Let's hold on to our salt for the next round.
And Bugsy, not only someone who has played a lot as Zen, but knows how to play them, has a
Oof.
lot of cards to kind of keep his Billow up as much as he wants, but at the same time focused on being as aggressive as he needs to be as well. Earlier we saw nothing but defensive play out of this. This fits perfectly and does not connect. 30% retained there for Please Do, but it's not going to matter. You don't get the toss.
There it is, and the counter could come out here. They will onto the Maldamba. Bugsy playing with fire here, or should I say gourds, deep inside of the enemy's back line. 58%, great spike there, but unfortunately it does not save Klosar's life, and it will not claim Erase's life either. Small miscalculation for Bugsy there, definitely costs his team.
And unfortunately for them, that's not going to be just one kill that comes through, or even 2 kills. That is so far 3 picked up in the total of that fight. And it's all just because it didn't come through in time. Comeback mechanic doing its work. That's 100% picked up. PACCBET have no worries. Although William Birkin almost gets the overtime. It was just a tough reclaim coming down for All Business. And it is really just those small whiffs, those small moments where it's just, can I get this kill or am I too aggressive? That 1 second Bugsy had to spend out of time healing.
Well, if you want to talk about, that is the small whiff in that situation there. The big whiff is the Khan ultimate just completely missing there. So even with that gift, All Business still aren't able to win that fight there, and that's what's kind of scary for me. That fight was going pretty well for them. We were watching mostly from Bugsy's perspective. He gets into the backline early. He gets the kill on a Tyra. He probably could have killed that Maldamba if he ulted it, but he hangs on to it, and he's just a second late for, and I'll be honest, I still like the idea of when that spike came out. Obviously, it was a little bit too late, but at the end of the day, it wasn't a bad call by any means there, and they still lost. That's what's scary for All Business. Partially the comeback mechanic doing a lot of legwork for them, but they have got to clean it up in the next round because I don't know if they're going to be getting that gift of a missed Khan ultimate ever again.
I mean, right now, fully charged. I don't expect it to come through. I mean, a minute 20, the payload's on the doorstep. You are pretty much in control running the Vortex grips as well. The stuns are clean. 295 health, though, not enough to stay alive. Erase gets taken down. Bugsy finding exactly what he needs.
He's going to get all
aggressive.
5.
Looking for it, and...
I mean, you got to count that as, that's all 5 kills there for Bugsy. Comes out of spawn. And the boys on a 5 streak here, Rampage, and that streak only counts off of killing blows there. So a nice little 5K from the big man himself.
In those moments, keeping up with Cassie and damage, keeping Arrays under wraps, that is the big thing that has been causing trouble. 12-3-4 on Cassie, but 14-3-2 for Bugsy here. And again, these shots are just so clean. He knows exactly where he needs to put them. They're hitting the targets. He has his Spite available again if he wants to go for the kill on the Maldamba or on the Cassie. He has that available to him, but maybe a little bit too isolated here.
Everyone's looking at him, though. Gets the ultimate on a Cassie. Wow. And that's it. That's the isolation kill. And that's where this is a big thing that's hard to teach here. But the rest of All Business, when the support's looking at him, both damage dealers are looking at him, the rest of you should be pushing. The rest of you should be putting pressure on. No one's shooting you. No one's even looking in your direction. You don't have any reason to not be getting aggressive in that situation there. And obviously they kind of did, especially once Bugsy like hard committed to that ultimate there. But that's a thing that, again, it's tough to teach, but you got to have that killer instinct to recognize. I might not be full HP. I might not have all my cooldowns up, but right now, no one's looking at me. Right now, everyone's shooting at Xin. I need to get aggressive right now because I'm going to be able to get some free angles and some free damage here because of the pressure being put on by my flanker.
And admittedly, it was perfect timing. The one thing that caught me off guard, and the thing that still is kind of confusing me, Erase, you see Nas, everyone looking over there. They know Bugsy's there. They see him whirl out, and then they just leave Cassie. Like, by our lonesome. They're like, all right, well, Erase, you just deal with Zen now. We're going to go fight over here. And then William Birkin gets a triple kill.
That's a bit of a misstep there. Bugsy was in a weird spot because he didn't get the counter damage there, and that's a big part of like whether or not I can go in as Zen is if I hit a nice juicy counter. He falls back behind the rock, and because he's been so patient with his ultimate, he's just pretty much always has it up and ready to go for those dire situations. Pops it there, back to 64%. But right now, there is no pressure from All Business, and it's all PACCBET on the objective.
Ineffable ult down behind the point, 54-3. But that is comeback mechanic still available for PACCBET. And the burning coming down. Crossfire going to be popped. That is going to be looking like a clean kill if he can find it. But the corner is playing too much for the other team. All Business gets out. The damage is good, but Klosar not able to close it out. Sadzik Bugsy falling shortly after. And this is going to be the one team fight they need. William Birkin pretty much isolated and dead.
This is just, Tyra is big thickness, man. She is so tanky. She gets that Grover 100 to 10% of his health. Leon pushes in full HP, eats the full fury, pops her ultimate. Still, you could see Madara instinctively wanted to turn away when he was getting enlightenment. He's like, wait, I'm actually like, I can actually take this on the chin and still win this fight. He does. Then Barrack pushes. Doesn't have enough DPS to combat the tankiness, and natural now 15% lifesteal from Tyra. You can't forget about that as well. Not only does she have all this HP, this damage reduction, but she's got self HPS as well, and the fact that if she is just hitting shots, 15% of that damage is coming right back into that big old HP pool, and then you got to go through it again with that 20% damage reduction still applied.
It's a difficult mountain to climb, and so far it seems to be the reason that on certain maps we're having people like Madara pull out this Tyra and do so well with it. The damage is incredible. As of right now, he's locking down all business in the base. They're going to be going for the respawn. The heals have to come through for them. They're going to step into the base, but coming around the corner one more time is this payload. Very similar to the last round, though, so it could get stalled. PACCBET just have to play a little differently, get maybe a couple more kills, and this could go through and tie it up 3-3.
All business really, they need another 15 seconds of fighting here to get these ultimate charged up. Even if this goes through, that's fine, it's whatever, it's 3-3 at that point, but they really needed this stall, and they're kind of getting the stall here. They're getting a couple of kills. This is good, this is perfect. All the ultimates are now charged, so that even if this does go through, which I don't think it's going to, at least for the next minute, they're going to be fine because they've got ultimates to play around with. Now things get interesting, though, because we do have a full minute almost on the clock here. That's another 1, 2 if they're quick for PACCBET to get attempts in here at pushing this one through. They have plenty of ultimates online. And now it's that delicate dance of who's popping what for where and when.
40 seconds left. The timer dwindling cuts off how much they have to be able to work with. A lot of hits being able to hit erase Madara on their way into the fight. And the heals, though, that's going to be the thing I think that's kind of dividing the two. So far, Moldava has been on point. Grover hasn't been everywhere he needs to. There's going to be Closar getting taken down. Erase from the backline, finding the shots. Madara setting himself up perfectly to try and cut off and potentially find Bugsy to eliminate him. But it is going to be William Birkin you have to burn through. It's going to be the Grover you have to take down, Sadzik, to get this push.
There's one. I mean, the ultimate comes through from Inara. Trading out the support kill there. This could go either way. Still, PACCBET looks like they're falling apart, though, in terms of momentum. They lose one of their most important pieces, the support, followed up by arguably the second most important piece. Their Inara falls quickly thereafter. All 5 ultimates are held onto for all business. And the only thing that PACCBET expended there was the seismic crash, which at this point, Gormizer, with all the resiliences picked up on all business, it's next to no value for me. And unfortunately, that means next to no value for the Dread Serpent as well. I mean, you're going to have to do really immaculate things, and you might be able to just focus fire one target down with it. The biggest, most effective use of these are going to be for those, like, interruptions, right? Ineffable's going to try and pop his ultimate. You can pop a Snap Dread Serpent just to interrupt that cast, but you're not going to get the full fear duration, which is fine. You've gotten value in another way, so that's what I want to see from what little value can be left from these CC ultimates with so much resilience picked up by all business.
Everything they're going to need. Scout active up in the air, trying to find out their positioning. That's going to be a great pluck, but he doesn't get him off the map. Grover going to stay alive. Whirlwind comes through as well. Cauterize not going to be enough, and now Please Do is looking low himself. Tosses Closar around, but does not have the stuns, does not have the damage. He ends up going down.
I mean, that's it, Gore. That's like a big part of why you're picking Khan is that free ability right there. The ability to just yoink anyone from nearly anywhere and throw them off the map. But, you know, panic sets in, and he misses it 2 in a round.
You take the toss. You go for a throw. And this is something that a lot of people, I think, underestimate when you're playing Khan. Resilience is going to affect that throw. They're going to go down a lot faster. You saw it a lot more with front lines during the last season because they had that kind of built in. That is that moment. That honestly makes a big difference. That Whirlwind was available. If it wasn't there, then your fight becomes a lot cleaner, and it is very simply...
He may have been able to jump out the window and just Mission Impossible the vine like around the corner. I don't know.
That would have been sick. But it's, I mean, resilience essentially is making the tree heavier, right? You go to throw him, and he just goes... right there onto the side, and he's like, all right, pop Whirlwind.
But
and
that's
just
the stuff,
run.
man. That's the stuff you got to pay attention to. You got to be aware of. If you're Maldamba, you got to be aware of it. You got to recognize that my Dread Serpent is not going to do what I think it's going to do. My Seismic Crash is not going to do it. You know, my Overpower is not going to do what I think it's got to do. That's not an excuse for me at this point. You have to be paying attention, obviously, to what your opponents are buying into and how you are going to adjust around it.
Well, that's now 1-1. We have the post-game stats for that one ready as well. And I'm actually kind of curious to see, again, the way things rolled out. William Birkin, I think, has been the most consistent player that we have seen today. But Madara was pumping out the numbers. He was playing so well. And I do think, I mean, based on the numbers, just looking at PACCBET, it really does come down to how that last fight just unrolled. That one ult change created everything I think that went wrong for them.
I mean, this is an incredibly close set, and these stats look almost identical to how they looked in terms of a little bit more capture point time for PACCBET, a little bit more healing, a little bit less damage. It's not coming down to just flat out numbers and throughput. It's coming down to mistakes with ultimates and little things like that, tilting the favor back in one team's way.
The literal 1 second longer that William Birkin was able to stand on the point than Inara, that's the big difference maker. That 1 second's right there. But I mean, it's coming down to the ults. It's coming down to when they use them. These teams have showcased, I want to say, both skill and both being able to see something go wrong for them, having a little bit of a trip up, maybe underestimating their opponent or overestimating themselves. Map number 3. This is where it comes down to loser's pick. This is where we get a little bit of change for the set. And you finally get it.
Big claps. Big claps in the chat here. First game of Orders Gate. I didn't get any last week.
I've not seen one.
You said it was banned out in the first set as well. So here we go, guys. A brand new map. Orders Gate. This came out, I believe, with the release of Amani shortly after the Dragon Ball TDM style of thing. So this is the first time that we're able to see it played in a Siege perspective. Now, if I have to give you my initial thoughts on this map, it's that obviously we're bringing a lot of cool features in. I don't know what to call, like the crystal warp jets, where basically you can run into them. It's off the map, so it's kind of scary, but they boost you up into the air. You can make plays with that. This is a fairly long objective push. It's unique in the fact that this capture point it's on a bridge that has a tunnel under it. So it has cover very close by for frontliners. So how these frontliners play this is going to be very interesting to watch, as well as the fact that it's a pretty lengthy payload push, and you're pushing into an enemy spawn that it's going to be hard to break, I think. There's a lot of high ground surrounding this, the actual capture point where you're trying to get this payload across to the finish line there. I'm very, very curious to see, who's done their homework on this map, and that's going to be a big factor here. You said this is loser's pick.
Yeah.
PACCBET just lost. They chose to come here. How ready for this map are all business?
That was way better than everything I was going to say about this map. The only thing I have to say about this map is that I suck at it. I always tend to lose on this one. I think I have a single win. But with the way things go, I mean, it does come down to how different the orientation on being on that point is, right? When you're standing on the point, there's just a giant wide open gap in front and behind you, and high ground's looking down the side.
Yeah.
Like, you're not necessarily in a fishbowl, but you're
too.
very, very vulnerable. And it is that, how quickly can you jump out? How quickly can you put up that shield? Like, how well are you as a frontline player at keeping yourself alive just long enough for your healer to get there? Bomb King, Leon, they're going to have their work cut out, as well as the Xin, the Cassie, and now the Shaolin, the triple DPS coming down for PACCBET. So they're choosing the map. It's the fresh map. It's got some new mechanics on it itself. And they're running triple DPS. I think they have something in their pocket.
Yeah, it appears like they do. And I like that you mentioned how the line of sights to the points work, and that this is also a 3 DPS composition, because to me, I feel this way as a frontline all the time, you know what I mean? But I feel helpless on the point as a frontline on this map at times, because where the DPS get to stand to pressure you is so well covered. It's almost like the only way for you to shut that down or for you to get help is for one of your DPS to be flanking this out or putting direct pressure to counter out what their DPS are trying to do to you. First competitive game here of Orders Field, though. I'm very excited for it. We've got Solar Blessed Korea, Royal Subjects Bomb King, Eminence Leon, Battering Ram Ash, William Birkins yet to select here, Mother's Grace Anar, Impulse Cassie, Spirit's Chosen Damba, Yomi Xin, and a Recurve Shaolin.
I love Recurve.
Do you?
But I also really, really miss being able to feel like I'm in stealth for a little while.
I miss I would love 1 second extra stealth duration back on Desert Shadow. That's just me, though.
So far, good shots. Devozy, you can see how fast he's pulling this. Going from Inara to Shaolin, not typically what you see, but Ray's going to be able to pick up.
Yeah, wait, what a switch.
nice.
That's actually nuts.
In.
I didn't notice that. I like it, though. Now 39% for PACCBET initially, And they have the Inara, man. I mean, that's a big part of this. You know, if she's getting pressured, she just throws that wall up, and it's almost like, you know, that's the only real angle DPS are going to be looking to play, I think, here on this map. And so far, so good for PACCBET. They were clearly prepared for Warder's Gate because they take a 100-3 capture in the first round.
That was akin to a pack of wolves and the DPS that were incredibly hungry, and all they saw was a wounded animal in front of them. It was perfect for them to be able to come up. All Business unable to really escape there. It felt like there was nowhere they could look, nowhere they could hide. And that was PACCBET, again, recognizing the map, playing the map, knowing exactly what they need to know to make sure that this goes the way. All Business, I mean, you'll have played this in your ranked games, you'll have played this in casuals and pugs, but there's no guarantee you've been scrimming on this map enough to know what PACCBET are going to throw at you.
Right. So a good looks here for PACCBET early. And All Business are getting it for sure here. They are struggling. This is looking like it's going to be one of the quicker rounds that we have seen all set long. 140 left on the clock out of the 2 minutes and 30 seconds total. This is going to be one of the mathematically quicker possible pushes, not only in the game, but certainly for this map. Khan's going to get down here to contest just for a moment, but almost immediately gets knocked away from the objective, and it rolls right on through here. And the worst part about that is not the fact that everyone is killless, 0-3, 0-3, 0-2, 0-2, 0-3. It's that round happens so fast, you almost don't even really have time to talk about what the hell went wrong, and now it's time to do it all over again. It's like you're scrambling in spawn, you're buying your items, and you're trying to figure out, all right, how do we, obviously, literally anything could have been better than that, but what is the main problem there for All Business? PACCBET, certainly with this 3 DPS composition, moves a little bit quicker, a little bit deadlier around the objective, and they have the stronger front line to boot. So, I mean, there's a lot for them to play off of here, and they certainly have all the momentum going into round 2.
I feel fully confident in saying that in my experience with Warder's Gate, that is the fastest push I've ever seen. And I don't think really what I expected to see on this map, especially for the debut. I was thinking a lot more Splitstone Quarry, a lot more long, lengthy push, but it is going to be just the way they played it, Array specifically staying alive. But having Devozy, having the Shaolin, having the 3 DPS has been working out well, but that's going to be the King Bomb channeled up, coming in, close to our kills, ready for him, and with comeback mechanic, all they have to do is get rid of this Inara.
Yeah, he just walked into that King Bomb, though. Unfortunate stuff. Inara still not dead, by the way, throws up the wall, and she's just going to hang tight at about 20% HP until that DR falls off. The banister is planted deep in the back line. It won't get a stun on anyone, but what it will get is zone control here. Forward pressure for All Business. And now they are climbing north of 80%.
Doing whatever they can to hold on. And this is a relatively decent zone.
Footwork.
Nice shots coming through. Ineffable going to be able to get rid of Arrays. But Inara's back. This is going to matter. Where's the support? Is it going to be enough behind them? And what does Ineffable want to do right here? Doesn't have his ult available, but they're finding the shots they need. Please Do is just so far away from the point. There's not a lot of control.
Yeah, it's getting messy, and that's definitely going to help out this double frontline composition. The fact that these DPS are being forced to touch so often that they don't actually have a chance to put the appropriate amount of pressure on. And the overtime will expire in favor of All Business. Well done there from the boys to be able to bounce back after the absolute curb stomp that was round 1.
And as of now, I'm kind of curious.
Push that, Bomb King.
Push a little bit.
There you go.
Better for PACCBET? Was that just them being able to catch All Business off guard, or is that push this easy if you play it properly? Right now, Closar, that's a beautiful angle. I like where he's playing this.
There was, you know, last game, it was the Khan ultimate missing. There are gifts that you get sometimes. Yeah. And that time for me, it was Xin literally walking around the corner into the King Bomb and just getting obliterated on the spot, right? That's a super, super free kill. And it might not have been the highest priority kill. It may not have been the exact champion that they wanted, but they got a free kill for it. Yeah. And what more can you really ask for? That gives you so much space to kind of play around with at that point. And if PACCBET aren't winning fights where they're getting gifts, where they're getting free picks, then they have no business winning fights at all. But they do win that fight, so yeah. Here we are.
This is the kind of stall I expected a little bit more. A minute and 28. It was pushed about this time during the last round, so now you're starting to see the stall come through.
That's
and
funny.
This is one of the things about this map that I think is a good thing to showcase. There's actually a lot of vision to dismount anyone who's getting aggressive, but the payload, I want to say it's difficult to re-engage on without the proper plan. Unless you group up the way that All Business have, you're just going to trickle down and fall apart every single time you take a step towards that payload. But then you can slowly reclaim the game you had, or the ground you had during the last round, trying to find this high ground, trying to find a little bit of vision to afford to protect everyone that is on top of that payload.
Raze is going to go down there to William Birkin. 2 for 1 in favor of All Business as Bomb King starts to get a little bit of momentum pushing up the ramp. He's got his King Bomb as well. Grumpy Bomb a little bit off the mark. But it's tough to push into a King Bomb, you know, and this is a cheeky little spawn door. It's spotted out early on, the nice combo into the whirl. That's going to be good for the kill onto Losar. And that might just be enough to quell this push for now.
Once they get rid of Sadzik, I feel like that is most of what All Business is, right? It's 4 really good players with an incredible support behind them, and when you have that kind of support coming through, you have these front lines staying alive forever. And speaking of alive forever, it looks like Ineffable was going for the jump, unable to find the jump for his ult. I believe still retaining that. No, it's sitting at 22%, so he gets killed off, and a defense comes through. All Business, almost, but not quite, is the best way to describe that round.
Nearly there. They're getting better, they're adapting, and they're starting to bring themselves back into this game, of course. Comes off the back of that early King Bomb, gets the kill on the Xin, and then you see Klosar is just allowed to, you know, swing for the fences here, and that's what Bomb King likes to do best. Getting closer to those top damage numbers. It's a pretty tight race here, to be honest. 41,000 at 5th place. Cassie's out in front by a decent bit, 57K, but, you know, 2nd place and 5th place only separated by 4,000 damage. So damage has certainly been tight. Madara has been on point most of this game here with Cassie. I like what I'm seeing so far from Warder's Gate. We've seen the mathematically quickest push possible. We have seen one start good, run out of steam late. We've seen this fight go both ways. But all 2 rounds so far, we have seen that sort of same approach where they're just going to hard dive over the, we got to think of a name for these, but I
want to call them elevators, but they just don't quite work the way you think of an elevator. They don't, elevators, if you might not know, don't typically yeet you into the air.
So what's the beam, what's like the Star Trek beam that's like beam me up, Scotty? Is it like tractor beam? Like what's the name of that thing?
I don't.
Blake would know.
I don't know if it has a full name. I don't know if it's just the beam, you know?
The beam me up, Scotties. Does that work? Takes the beam me up, Scotty, around the corner here. Gets the counter damage. I love it.
Seems like it might be a little too many words, and it's a little bit too much for a raise
shut
as
your
well.
mouth,
He comes around. Now,
wait, does that work?
Potentially.
Ooh, that was clean.
Did he glide over that? Does that keep
that's
you
what
up
that's what I was gonna say. I was like, wait, does this work? Because he's like CC me, so I was wondering if he could still be knocked up by those beams. So many interactions around the beam me up, Scotties, that I don't know. I don't know how all of it's going to play out, and that's part of the fun of getting to watch this brand new map.
There's got to be something better than beam me up, Scotties.
Beam me
that
up,
one's gonna be
Scotties
the one
LP.
that's going to be the one that sticks.
It's the best.
You'd think there's a better name than Party Boys, but somehow that's the one that stuck too.
Oh, that's the one, dude. That's the play. There it is. Bomb King goes down though. Madara. Now he's got free reign. This is his little cubby, you know what I mean? He's not going to have any pressure now, and this is where things get scary for the All Business front line.
Doing whatever they can. William Birkin, nice full heal onto him once again, but Bugsy kind of left to the side, falls off,
Scotty
doesn't get brought up. Scotty does not beam anyone up this time around, and unfortunately that's a big chunk of DPS lost. William Birkin goes down. Erase is traded out for him, but it is the kills coming down from Madara that matter the most, and he's going to be able to find the shots he needs for his team. Now they just have to go through this last Ash. Ineffable doing what he can, 59 health. He's almost dead, but not quite. The trade out is what's going to matter. Madara does go down, Ineffable doing whatever he can.
Oh, you hate to see it. Scotty, you had one job. He failed to beam up Bugsy. And I've had it happen. And the reason you see the foot is there on the point. And the reason that happens is because the way the capture point checks to see if there's contact, it's like once every second or something like that. It's like nothing. Okay, there was a big toe on, but it was a second. It was half a second after I just checked. So I'm timing this game out. It's all over. PACCBET win it all. Unfortunate that it shakes out that way. That was the perfect ultimate to have up. Do All Business bring that one back, even if they get that contest reset? Maybe. Bugsy had just come back into that fight. There is a hope, there's a chance, but there's no use crying over spilt milk. This one goes the way of PACCBET.
And that was well played overall. Madara being able to kind of carry the damage weights, but I think the triple DPS overall, not just Erase Madara, but having Devozy kind of flex around from an Inara to a Shaolin catches you off guard. You don't expect that extra bit of damage. And at the very beginning, that was what wins them that first point, that first round. As time went on, it did, I think, come down to who's making slightly more misplays. Bugsy not quite getting out of his dash in time to get beamed up all the way. It was just a second off.
That was Scotty's fault. It wasn't Bugsy's fault.
Yep, Scotty doesn't know how to beam Bugsy up. That's not how the song goes, but I had to think of a way to close that one out.
I like that better, though. I like that better.
And, unfortunately, ends up at the deficit now, 2-1. But we are going to take a quick break before the set comes to any conclusion, before there's maybe 1-2 more games. Whoever decides that is going to be right after this quick 3-minute break. So we'll see you all in just a little bit. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you grabbed your snacks, because we are in for the closure of the finals here in Europe. Both of these teams will be moving towards week 4 the way that this is formatted, but the seeding still matters very importantly, because you need to, I guess, like, you kind of want to play the bracket before you know what the bracket's going to be.
Sure.
So you're up 2-1 right now. If you're PACCBET, All Business are looking incredible, but just not quite there some of the time, and that's when they just trip.
Yeah, we got to see, Warders Gate. Very fun to watch that for the first time ever. It felt over pretty quickly, though. You know what I mean? Obviously, that first round, those first 2 points go very, very, very fast. But at the end of the day, it's always good to see that. And we have our first point of data on the plot of what does Warders Gate mean? What does it feel like? What succeeds there? What fails there? And so far, it's the beam me up Scotties that have failed. That's the only thing I've seen fall through on that map. But we still need to decide ourselves a winner. Let's head to the map screen and figure out where these guys are going to square off next.
Serpent Beach. And again, you were actually mentioning Serpent Beach a little bit earlier. Very similar to, I think, Stone Keep was what you were saying, where it's just sometimes things can just get out of hand, and sometimes you can pull it right back, right? It's very much the point at the very beginning can be a stomp, and that has no real impact on the rest of the game unless the team is just that much more dominant.
It feels like it has the less so in similarity of Stone Keep's layout, but more so in the way that round is played. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of like 5v5 or 4v4 clashing up behind that waterfall, and there's not much else. Like sometimes you got a guy that hard wraps the scenic round. Yeah, it takes him a minute to get there, but a lot of times, and even the way that this map is picked for, is around that long distance point fight behind the waterfall. When you have something like a Grover, Fernando Fireballs, even snipers can work here, because a lot of these fights are taken at a little bit of distance. Another thing that's very important here is up-down mobility. You really limit yourself and your ability to move around this map, especially on the payload push. The vertical mobility is more important on the payload push, and the long distance, mid to long poke is more important on that point fight there. Leon, especially with the way Eminence is being played nowadays, I feel going to be very, very potent in that first fight, not only because of the distance scaling of that talent, but everyone's stacking up, you know what I mean? You're likely to get that 1 or 2, or maybe even, God bless, 3 hits. I don't think I've ever seen that, but I mean, it would be one hell of a show for sure.
Being able to come in, Hip being picked up, we saw and potentially see it again. Bugsy running this a little bit earlier. And it's one of those things, I actually like the draft here from All Business. It's a little different than what they've been doing today. Anara, Ruckus hasn't really been the forefront of their front lines, but Ruckus has fit in there, Anara has fit in there. They're just foregoing the barrack this time around to have that little bit more, I want to say, aggressiveness.
Well, PACCBET, at least in their backline, have a very good way to deal with these immobile tanks. When you have what is likely going to be a big game Cassie come through here, it's been a little bit of an impulse as well. It probably will be. I wouldn't be surprised. Nobody else is going to be that confident. When you have Eminence Leon, it's 2 easy targets for her to hit. You know what I mean? That's the only limiting factor for that build, just like running rampant and becoming OP and taking over the game, is when you miss those Eminence shots.
Yeah.
That doesn't really happen at this level of play when you're talking about a Ruckus or an Anara. They become very easy targets to hit. Big game. Again, the only thing that stops it from really annihilating any 1v1 is missing a disengage. But if you're not missing those disengages, it becomes easier and easier for you, and it looks like it will be big game Eminence. Tinkerin, Battering Ram Spirits Chosen, little Catalyst, Solar Blessing, Rocket Barrage, Mother's Grace, and of course, Reposition.
Now that's the one that's kind of caught my eye. Steady Aim is kind of up there, I would say, in terms of like damage output, but reposition, this is more akin to what we saw before Eagle Eye made its appearance with a nice 50% increase before it was nerfed.
Well,
this is a big one.
This was the big boy in the patch that shall not be named. And look at this, Leon waiting for Bugsy.
Ooh.
Madara's done his homework. He knew where this Kinessa wanted to flank. This must be something that Bugsy's done before because he just got hard red.
And it worked out, admittedly, better for All Business. Yeah, they're down 54% on the point right now, but the one shot Bugsy got off paid off with a kill. It ended up resulting in at least Closar being able to clean something up. Now Kinessa's going to be in an awkward position, though. If you steamroll that fight, then you have Kinessa being able to dismount, find kills left and right. And Bugsy, I'm going to say one of the players that made Kinessa so formidable, something that was picked up so often by other teams on this map. But he's the one who's made it work, I want to say the best.
Yeah, I mean, him and Hikate are
up there.
And I guess Alex playing Kinessa on Serpent Beach. That's really the names that come to mind for me, at least. All Business at 84%. You're seeing how important this high ground is. You know what I mean? All Business, the second they lose control of it, they're forced to pretty much give it up. Unfortunate mistransporter there from Bugsy. I think he wanted to get up high, not stay down low, and he got punished for it. The second thereafter, Pip somehow stayed alive there. I don't know how the hell he did that. He looked like he was one shot, got shot, and was still alive. I don't know. He just pulled out the witchcraft.
Oh, now he's going to be able to find the shots. That's going to be the bad side. That's actually what we got to see earlier from Bugsy when he was playing Pip. And that Dread Serpent not going to go off is going to be perfect. Pip finds what he needs, 21,000.
This Pip is slapping right now, dude. I mean, he is just constantly cranking out these bonus damage shots. I'm like, there's no way he's not leading the charge at the moment here. Great job there from All Business. I mean, it wasn't pretty, especially from Bugsy's point of view, but the young Pip himself, Closar, gets it done in a big way to the tune of 4-0-5, a part of 9 kills there during that first fight.
The only deaths really sitting on the side of Bugsy, and admittedly, Kinessa's the easiest to pick off. She's the one who's going to be isolated the most, the one that has to do some of the more ridiculous maneuvers, I would say, on this map to try and make sure it works out the way you need it to. Everybody else being as aggressive as they are. Madar's been able to find a couple of good shots, but so far, again, not being able to eliminate Closar has been just the biggest issue.
Let's take a look at this Pip's loadout here as that explosive flask flies up into the air. And that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about, is the fact that this Pip's self-healing is going to be incredibly impactful, at least at the start of this game. Nice peel there from the Dread Serpent. It's going to allow Arrays to rotate into the backline here, pick up Bugsy, save the life of this Barrack. But unfortunately, the wall is just too good for Manara.
Being able to have that along with side tanks as well, keeping him alive and keeping his damage updated as best he can. Unfortunately, that time maybe overstays his welcome, takes a little bit too much. Please do going to be able to get the elimination for that one. Now the team on the side of PACCBET is going to be able to find some good defensive holds. High ground, abundant for the defenders. Difficult to reclaim, difficult to take if you're All Business here.
And while not a gift, it's reassuring to see how well All Business are doing with essentially the absence of Bugsy. If he starts to hit his stride like we have seen him hit his stride with this champion on this map, it's freaking over for PACCBET. Like, they're not going to have a prayer. And I've seen him solo carry Fisheko and Tenor on this map with Kinessa. Like, if that starts to happen, it's just hard over.
Arrays right now doing his best to try and stop that from happening, though. Looking for the kill. Sadzik, that's going to be an easy pickup right there. William Bergen has pretty much nothing to stand here for other than he needs to contest, but that's going to be another elimination. Another clean set of credits going into the pockets of PACCBET as they find this. And this is looking like a defense more and more. I just do not see Ineffable making that big of a difference if he gets over there. I mean, even if he's able to stand there for the overtime, he's a ruckus. He's just going to get melted.
But he does get there, nonetheless, and he gets melted, just like our resident expert Gore Miser has prescribed. He's feeling the heat here. Overtime started that stun right on the chin there by Inara. She's going to get her Furia Beam. She's going to stand here for a long, long, long time, but not be getting out much return damage. That's the name of Inara's game, though. Bosar rotates in. He's going to find one frag. The Evo Mojo could come out here to slay out this Barrack. Healing potion's ready to go. Inara needs that, buddy. She goes down. Closar, 2 tunnel vision, man. I think he really could have kept that Inara going. This Evil Mojo does come out. Beautiful
What a
connection.
shot!
Kinessa and Pip at the same damn time, and all business will send it home.
And that's clean. Ineffable comes back in, right? I love that play. As much as I didn't at first, I love the way they run it. Sacrifice yourself for the overtime. Get Inara there because she's just tanky as hell. And then survive until Ineffable can come take the place. Let Closar, let Bugsy do their thing, keep Sadzik alive, and you're set. And even though it seemed like maybe there was a point Closar might have zoned in a little too hard on the Barrack, Madara arrays weren't there to return the damage. They were so focused on the front lines, they weren't dealing with what I think was the bigger problems.
Yeah, a nice Evo Mojo comes out eventually, and I mean, that's a beautiful thing when you can see both of the potion launcher and the sniper rifle connect at the exact same time, completely obliterating that poor chicken.
He is now in your new McNugget meal.
Yes, he's fried.
Probably for $1.
He's out here. Ash is going to dive in deep, obviously, because she's got her ultimate there. So she's got damage immunity for the next 8 seconds, stunning out this Furia. One more shot will send the support to an early grave here. And PACCBET is already off to a roaring start, 74% on the objective. I mean, this fight is pretty much over before it even started.
Clean cut, potentially done, depending on how Inara can hold on to this. Not very well is the answer to that. Very slippery hands. Not going to be able to get a good grip at all on the point. Comeback mechanic plays its role, but a lot of that was just clean zoning coming down from Ash, being able to just set everyone up. Once Sadzik's done, I mean, you had mentioned this earlier when we had looked at it in the last set even. You kill off the one person's the healer. All you have to do is just get aggressive in that set.
At that point, the only way to stop that type of snowball is for Inara just to get in there and contest. Even if it's a suicidal mission, just to hold that off for a little bit longer. Contesting is so much more incredibly value in comeback mechanic enabled rounds, like the one we just saw for the reason we just saw. I mean, that Ash rode to the back, dashed to the back line, popped her ultimate, and by the time that 8 seconds on her ultimate is up, it's basically over, man. They're at 70–80% captured already. There's nothing you can really do to come back from that. It would take a miracle at that point.
Still waiting to see. Bugsy's hit some really good shots this game. We've also seen a lot of missable plays, I guess, where it's just like there's just nothing really going on.
Well, he's missed the transporter. He got hard red, and, you know, he hit that one nice shot onto the chicken.
He's kind of stuck, kind of perpetually zoned. He can't get as aggressive, I think, as he wants to.
That's Serpent Beach, though. That's easy. You're taking a risk by playing the champion here. It's not a free thing that comes through. And sometimes you just got to groove, you know? You just got to hit your groove thing here. 1:05 on the clock. As this dance party is now over, stunned out onto the high ground. And again, it's always been a risk to run Kinessa here.
Yeah.
But what's even her identity anymore in this season? She used to be Headhunter, right? She used to be one-shot potential on most supports and damage champions. And now that that's not a thing anymore, the question has to be asked, is she still worth it?
And it's, I think in that particular area of if Bugsy is having the games of Kinessa we've seen him have, like in those top tier games on the Fnatic roster, right? He's finding headshot after headshot. Doesn't matter if he has Eagle Eye, if he has anything for transporter, if he has steady aim, he's going to be perfectly fine. But as it is right now, he's not really finding shots. I feel like Kinessa's not feeling very useful here because she's not hitting the things that would make her useful. If he starts hitting those, I think we're going to start seeing the impact of it. But as it is right now, the work is falling onto Closar and the rest of the crew. But there's 2 kills picked up for Bugsy. He's getting aggressive. Those are the shots he needs to find.
Yep. It's tough for sure, especially on these stone keeps, these serpent beaches, on maps that were already kind of tough to pull it off. When you're just not a one-shot threat anymore, it makes it that much more difficult for you. Bugsy's picking up a little bit more steam here. He's starting to get above some of the front lines in this game in terms of his damage output. Dancing around here on the high ground, though. It looks like he had to make his own space, right? Because nobody was giving him an inch there, and that's the connection onto the chicken that we all lost our minds over. And that's the type of stuff that just needs to continue to happen. It's not been an easy road, man. 7-6. He's almost always got people up in his face, up in his business, preventing him from doing what he wants to do. But that's the way they need to play it. I mean, PACCBET just can't let this happen. If you let this Kinessa go off the leash, it's going to hurt.
And I like the way he's changed it, although I wouldn't mind seeing if he does the initial rotation, the thing we saw at the beginning of the game, and then just pause for a little bit, make sure no one's looking at him, then get aggressive. I feel like they're missing a lot of angles, not going to be able to damage that Ashe as she is in her ulti and flame, not going to be able to do anywhere near as much. There's just nothing to do from this angle while PACCBET are playing the way they are.
It's, you know, he's playing a little bit scared right now, and it's understandable the way that this game has gone. It's not been easy. There's not been a lot of free angles for him. There's not even a real flanker on this PACCBET squad that can do much to him, and now it's a very aggressive transport in. That's not really the way granted, I know it's not been going well, but that's not the way I want to see him play reposition, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to see him take an aggressive angle, and then his talent choice is what's going to be what's going to get him out of those precarious situations here. When he sat all the way back in the spawn, hoping and praying for an angle to present itself, it's just that's a low percentage bet, you know what I mean? That angle never showed up there.
It seems, yeah, like you're already kind of counting yourself out of the fight. You're not going to be in the fight if you can't do anything from that angle. You're leaving a lot up to Ineffable here, who's been able to help find this defense. Hexafire is fully charged as well. So if you're looking at a pause, if you're looking at trying to defend right here, all business, they can do it. They have it. They just showcased
Honestly,
it last
man,
round. That's not their issue. The issue so far has been the point fights, and if we see PACCBET get this push, then you need to start sweating a little bit more if you are all business, because it comes down to that capture point.
Whoa, cheeky little flank here coming out. Cassie's going to be punished for it. Ashe, she gets her 90% damage reduction, but she is ultimately punished for it as well. I'd honestly like to see Bugsy take that angle he took in the first round again.
Oh, yeah.
Part of it is it's a gamble. Is Leon going to be there, or Cassie going to be there, or someone going to be there to contest that out? And that's part of it, right? But, you know, I think it's also a gamble to sit safely in your back line. You're essentially doing the same damage if you're dead or have no angles to shoot the entire time.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, you're not, either way, at least the upside for that risky play is actually having an angle on that fight and getting frags. And even in the first round, like you mentioned, even though Bugsy died first blood for it, his team ultimately still won that fight because he got some damage out there.
And that one shot was just a clean kill. That was someone they didn't have to worry about. That's someone Closar could pick up, no problem. And as of right now, Madara is being able to do so much work because he essentially feels not necessarily untouchable, but pretty untouchable. Finally does get taken down right there. A couple of good shots finally connecting. And that is exactly what all business need to make this stay at a 3-2 going into the next round. But I think there's just a lot that has to be figured out for the point fight. That's where things are really getting unoriented for them. Although there is going to be a touchdown, it looks like, to get overtime. So how much work can Erase do here? How much backup can he provide to get a kill to keep this payload moving?
Rolls forward. Closar with an aggressive flank here. Bugsy picks up a kill onto the support early in this fight. And he's going to be just fine here. This is his range. This is his wheelhouse. Ashe, as soon as that dash damage reduction wears off, Bugsy plugs another one there into the side of the armored front line, but it will be an all-business defense when it's all said and done, and they are poised to take this game if they can just grab this next point. But it comes down to Bugsy. I mean, how is he?
Yeah.
He's starting to get more momentum back. It was a really, really bad start, but now he has climbed his way to the middle of the damage pack. But I don't think he's found a very satisfactory way to start this round. Closar has been consistently good the whole round. The fact that he's stayed this close to the top of the damage charts is still very, very impressive. A good ultimate there. I think, I can't remember if he had it up for the life of me at the very start of the round prior, and I want to say he didn't because that's what they used to catalyze their push on the way through. Davaziz played very aggressive with his ultimate every single time into all business' high ground. That's a very easy counterplay for Eva Mojo. The second she pops that off, you just, you know, count to one and spike the ground right where you think she's going to land, and she's going to be a chicken when she hits the ground and get blown up for it. We'll have to see, and I'm not hearing the ultimate come out, so that tells me she's maybe playing around that a little bit.
Small change of play from Bugsy this time around, but I like the hanging back only because he got so many dismounts. There's going to be the ult, the assert dominance landing in the back, but everyone's just ignoring it. They go around, they loop, they pull you back out. Closar still loses his life, though. Madara finds double kill, and now he's going to be able to get aggressive, find whoever he wants. No one is going to stand in his way. The damage is being dumped into either Furia or this Inara, but there's only so much healing that, well, I say that, but there is a ton of healing that a Furia can do to keep an Inara alive.
Oh my goodness, and it all just falls apart there for Inara. All the cooldowns are down. There's no Furia beam in sight. And shredded to pieces there. The stone ward crumbles on the objective. Klosar gets himself a nice little heal, but Dread Serpent it away, just trying to keep the pressure at bay for as long as possible. Madara and Arrays doing what they can to keep this one together. Bugsy gets a kill as well, but he's still playing relatively safe in the back line.
And there, finally it's going to come out. I was actually waiting for this evil mojo. Not being used. Does come through. It's not really going to afford a whole lot. Klosar goes down. Arrays being able to do more damage. Bugsy, this is not a fight you can win in the 1v1 unless you're taking it at range like that. And these are the shots you need to be able to connect on, although it's not finding enough for this Barrack. But they move back in. 99%. Overtime is ticking. They just have to be able to hold on to it, but they're losing members. Furia is low. Furia is gone. They're going to lose one front line, but they trade out Madara. They're almost ready for it. They just have to close it out. One more tick, but everyone from PACCBET is moving in.
There's so many shots to be landed right now. Target prioritization is going to be paramount. Overtime continues to reset here. It's a 3-for-1, though. The blue names are starting to overtake the red ones. 99% for all business. Bugsy dives in there on a suicide mission just to get the overtime touch, just to give themselves a chance, but a chance no longer as PACCBET have claimed yet another payload.
And a good, I mean, not intentional to happen that way, but a disengage right there to make sure Inara will not be healed up. Madara has been doing so much, gets taken down in this area, but this is aggression. This is when, if you're all business, you start to feel demoralized. That was your point. You had control, and it comes down to, like you said, target prioritization, and of course, just whether or not the shots were hitting, that made the big difference. Bugsy is hitting them, but I want to say in all the wrong times. The kills that are coming through, they look good, they look flashy, but there's 2 minutes left in the round. That one doesn't count as much as the one even just 30 seconds before.
I definitely have to give PACCBET a lot of credit there. I thought that they did a really good job dancing back and forth and resetting the objective appropriately, making sure that everyone stayed alive there. Bugsy hit a lot of shots during Headhunter, but never enough to actually take a target down. Barrack does a really good job. He rotates out, Maldamba rotates in, Maldamba gets shot. Meanwhile, Barrack's back to full health, so he gets to come back in and just keep it alive, keep it going there. And it was a real war of attrition there down the stretch, so PACCBET were able to kind of sneak that one away, and they'll actually be able to sneak this game away and this set away if they can just push this payload through, but they've struggled to do so far.
I mean, keeping it 3-3, the point fights again have been going their way. All it takes is one slip up from them, though, for all business to be able to take it. But they have to make it to the next round. 5 ults available, and if PACCBET play this right, they can at least get rid of a few of them, but it's not going to happen like that. That is 2. 3 make that clean kills. 2 coming up for Bugsy as he finds himself a double, looking for potentially even more. Madara not going to be able to withstand a lot underneath the scope of the Hunter, depending on where Bugsy happens to be aiming at the time. This is a difficult spot for a Cassie and a Leon to be in. Nowhere to really re-engage for them.
30 seconds left on the clock here. Ineffable finds the first frag. And that's going to mean another held defense here. Another 10 or so seconds before they're a full squad there. Poking over the hump with confidence there. Perhaps too much confidence as Klosar has dropped there. Bugsy answers one back, and it's just a 1 for a 1 for a 1. If nobody can get anything solid put down here, it's just going to be a held defense because they're just reinforcing this fight much quicker.
7, 6, 5.
If only you could have these long lines of sights on the point, then Bugsy'd be set. He's finding the shots every defense.
Yeah.
And is just making it happen on the point so far that he's been missing. That's the difference, I think, for his team to be able to win it. Overtime starts ticking through, but I just guarantee the sniper damage is causing too much trouble, especially with Ineffable in the front line now, for anyone to really feel comfortable on top of that payload. So the defense comes through, and I think it does immediately come down to one more time. What can Bugsy do for the point to open up? We see Madara, we see Arrays. They're doing a lot of work. Klosar, it's been kind of hit or miss the last couple rounds. So they have to step up and match the performance we're seeing right now out of Madara, 16-9. He's the one who has been accomplishing a lot, and the 28-16 looks really good for Bugsy, but they're just not happening at the right time for me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, getting these point kills is certainly where he has struggled, and I think it might come down to just a different approach this time around. He's kind of sat in the back line safely in all the rounds prior, and given that he's headed up this way, it looks like he's just going to continue to play it the same way again. Maybe focusing more on this Barrack. Obviously, late game Wrecker comes online and just obliterates the shield. Yet another one. That's what I wanted to see, though. The counterplay to assert dominance Davzi has done that pretty much every single round here, but this time he runs straight into the Evil Mojo, and that's a big momentum shift for All Business, though. They need to catalyze this. They need to use this, though. Take this time to get aggressive here and actually get more kills. I don't think just killing this Ashe is going to be enough.
I mean, they have to pick up something.
Because she still has her ult.
Flirting. Yeah,
they didn't do anything with it.
Back, that's actually going to be a big pain in their side as it is right now. Immediately uses the ult, immediately goes in, immediately finds 2 members down and potentially one-shot range, but has to fall back. Is looking at where they need to find the zone, but they kept a Madara alive, they kept a Raze alive, and now Davos-Z, even though he's been the primary focus, has caused so much trouble that 54% All Business got because of their winning fight has now pretty much been matched.
I'm really surprised that Davzi didn't push that there in the back corner. I mean, there were so many low HP targets. It's pretty much worked out for PACCBET all the same, though, as they pick up 4 more. Bugsy was picked up earlier in that fight. He's the only one alive currently. He's going to try and get in there for the touch, but he gets blown up before he even hits the ground. 96%, 99%, and that will do it. PACCBET have claimed victory here in Week 2 European Minor League Finals.
Well, the Minor League has been showcasing a lot. So far, I've seen probably 5 teams across these 2 weeks that are like standing out as absolutely stellar, being able to go into what I expect will be a phenomenal Minor League when we get the qualifiers done with. But for those 2 teams, they're still going to make it to week number 4. There's going to be a 3rd week where we're going to qualify the top 4. Everyone in the semifinals does get to go to that 4th week. But I mean, PACCBET solidifying themselves, technically I guess is the 3rd seed going into that because they're the week 2 winner. The post-game stats I think are going to showcase pretty much everything you expect from that game. Bugsy had a lot that he was able to accomplish, but I think it is overall the 477 seconds, please do, spent on the point, and the zone that his team created around him, the 155, 144, 136,000 damage that 3 of them had.
Yeah.
That just opens it up.
That'll certainly do it here, and your set MVP is going to be Madara. Congratulations to the boy himself. Played a very, very strong set, a lot of different styles of DPS, and was just consistently good. You know what I mean? There was a dry spell, I will admit, in Game 1 for his Bomb King, but basically everything else was really, really rock solid.
I mean, everything, like you said, solid coming from him. I
bit
actually
what we-
forgot. I mean, this
yeah.
was so long ago at this point that
This
I
was a long
forgot
set.
he had played Bomb King
Boom.
earlier. And I mean, everything from that to the Tyra to what we just saw in the Leon was being able to hit it. And like you said, there were trips, there were times where he wasn't the player that the team needed. He did make those mistakes. But overall, he was able to find any time it was a 1v1, he was the one coming out on top.
Yeah, never really fell apart for his team. Congratulations to him and to PACCBET for claiming the higher seed, like Gormizer has mentioned numerous times. Both these teams are qualified. If you remember the way that we used to do the PGS, this is going to be something very, very similar. All these guys are good. They're into the final week's bracket, where we are actually only taking, I believe, the top 4 into the minor league. So this is just the qualification process for the league to come.
And with the way things are going, I think we have the updated bracket here for Europe ready for you, so you can see the tale of today. We've only watched the 2 sets down there, Chroma Space and All Business. Chroma Space, even though that was a 3-0, looked pretty solid at the beginning. It just started to fall apart towards the end. PACCBET kind of showcasing why they are the ones at top there, why they were the ones to take out Scoobert Dubert, and that is going to be the EU side of things for this week. PACCBET and All Business, congratulations, I guess, for moving forward. But we still have North America. We still have at least 3 more teams to look and 2 more sets to watch and see who will qualify there and what seed they're going to be. So thank you all for watching so far, but also stay tuned for more Paladins Minor League just after this.